75. The Miracle Move. Finally, the day we had waited for months had arrived. It was time to move to our forever free farm. On that Tuesday, 25 April 2023, we headed to George for business, whereafter we would stay over at my friend's house in Oudtshoorn. The next morning marked a crucial milestone. At 6:30 a.m. sharp, we were set to meet the driver-owner of the removal company at Free at Last Farm. Having relocated our belongings there in 2019, we weren't worried that he wouldn't find his way on the intricate roads leading to the house. He had been there before, and we looked forward to seeing him again. We had just enjoyed a delicious cappuccino at our favourite pit stop in Riviersonne-End. As Keith started the car and turned onto the road, with the indicators blinking, his phone rang. The caller ID showed our mover. Not perplexed at all, thinking he was calling for a final confirmation of the time to meet us the next morning, Keith answered in high spirits. But instead, we heard the dreaded words. "Keith and Elmarie, I'm so sorry to tell you, but I won't be able to handle your move tomorrow. My truck broke down in a town 300 kilometers from Oudtshoorn. It's a serious issue. The truck needs to be towed back and parts must be ordered. The time frame for repairs is uncertain. However, it'll probably take about 2 months. I understand you can't wait that long. I apologize for leaving you in the lurch, but this is beyond my control." Each sentence landed like a devastating blow, leaving us breathless and stunned. We were gobsmacked, our minds racing with the implications. The wind had been blown right out of our sails. There was nothing much to say to our mover, and the call was quickly ended. A dreaded silence enveloped us in the car. We looked at each other in disbelief, 1,000 thoughts racing at breakneck speed through our minds. Now what? We faced a daunting decision. Should we turn back and reschedule with another company for a future date, stay a while longer in our flat in Muizenberg? Or do we attempt the impossible, finding another moving company on incredibly short notice? Time was against us, as the next day was a public holiday. They would need to meet us by tomorrow morning. The irony wasn't lost on me. The public holiday on 27 April, commemorating Freedom Day, felt bitterly ironic. Adrenaline kicked in, mixed with a healthy dose of faith and hope. In unison, we exclaimed, "Here's another miracle in the making. This is a test to see what our reactions would be. Let's keep our energies high and see if we can find a removal company prepared to accommodate us tomorrow." Our hours of meditation, personal growth, and motivational talks now paid off. The car was still idling. In the shock of the call, it hadn't occurred to either one of us that the engine was still running. In sync, we both exclaimed, "Let's go and stop at the garage at the entrance to the town, where the pond with the geese are. It is quiet and peaceful there. We'll park in a secluded spot and take a moment to regroup." I already had my notepad open and was Google searching for removal companies. We were perfectly in sync, as usual. We parked discreetly, away from the fueling station, and began calling. Within mere minutes, hope and faith started fading, and adrenaline also started to succumb to numbness. None of the 8 companies we called could help. At that moment, my stomach twisted into knots, and a sudden, intense urge to rush to the bathroom took hold. I left Keith in the car and made my way to the restrooms at the fuel station. Coming out of the bathroom, feeling relieved and recharged, ready to continue calling nearby companies, my mouth felt parched, clearly a result of the shock. On the spur of the moment, I decided to quickly pop into the quick shop and buy us each a bottle of water. Armed with bottles in hand, I marched out. It was only a short delay, and I was sure Keith would be grateful for the water. As I looked up, I suddenly noticed a big moving truck pulling in to refuel. The site was out of view from where Keith was sitting, and in any case, Keith was faced away from the fueling station. He would never notice this truck that had just pulled in right before my eyes. I felt the familiar tinge, my heart racing, my mouth now even drier, and butterflies in my tummy. Without giving it a second thought, I rushed towards the truck. I quickly explained our predicament to the driver. His puzzled expression turned hopeful. "The truck's empty," he said, "and we're heading back to our Cape Town depot. But talk to my employer." He handed me his business card, saying, "Mention my name." His eyes sparkled with possibility. "We'll wait in the parking area for confirmation. Cape Town or a U-turn to Ladysmith?" I sprinted back to Keith, euphoria fueling my steps. As I burst open the door, his disheartened tone hung in the air. Another fruitless call ended. He turned, opening his mouth to speak, but froze, reading my expression. In that instant, a flicker of recognition danced in his eyes, a glimmer of hope ignited. That spark of possibility, that thrill of the impossible had happened. I breathlessly shared the news, and before I finished, Keith had his finger on the dial pad, waiting for me to read the number. With bated breath, we waited, and then the call was answered. Confidently, Keith was told, "Please give me 5 minutes. I'll call you back. I just need to check something." Those 5 minutes ticked by at a glacial pace. And of course, who hasn't heard the promise of a returned phone call only to still be waiting? But then there was also the undeniable thrill of sensing we were witnessing a miracle unfold, a story that would add another layer to our already miraculous Tulbagh chapter. Promptly, the call was returned, with the news that another driver would be dispatched from their depot very early the next morning. They would meet us in Ladysmith Town at 7 a.m. and take care of the relocation. The quote remained unchanged, so no additional costs were incurred. As a matter of fact, everything remained on schedule except that a different company would be handling the move. Keith and I rejoiced in the miraculous turn of events all the way to Oudtshoorn, the next day loading our belongings, and for many days after we arrived in Tulbagh, eager to make Forever Free Farm our home. It almost sounded like a tall tale, except we had all the paper trails and phone logs to prove it wasn't. Life's canvas had painted a masterpiece beyond fiction's wildest brushstrokes, a testament to the surreal beauty of truth.